We are less than 1 week away from the 2026 MLB trade deadline, and Jeff Passan and all the people at ESPN went and created some blockbuster deals that would absolutely break Major League Baseball. So I'm going to react to what they came up with and see if it's good trades, bad trades, if I think they're going to happen or not. Before we get going into it, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the baseball content coming at you. Trade deadline, we're doing a big stream that day. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Factor. I got to put you onto something that has not only been saving me time and money, but also still tastes really good. That, of course, is Factor meals. I simply spend too much time every single day trying to figure out what to eat, and most nights I end up just ordering out or snacking, which really isn't healthy. Thanks to Factor, that problem literally doesn't exist anymore. Factor sends you chef-made meals directly to your door, and they only take 2 minutes in the microwave to make. So there's no cooking, there's no prep, there's no cleanup, and look at this meal, guys. It tastes really good, it looks really good, and it's filling. Factor also gives you a ton of options in the meals that you can eat. You can have high-protein meals, low-carb, calorie smart, and Factor is constantly changing the options you can choose from so you don't have to repeat meals as well. I mean, look at me. I'm eating chimichurri filet mignon. This tastes like something I ordered out, not that I put in the microwave. So if you want to stop stressing about meals, click the link in my description right now, or scan the QR code on your screen right now to get 50% off your first box and free breakfast for a year. But it's only for a limited time, so make sure you click the link in the description right now or scan the QR code to get in on this offer. Big shout out to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. All right, so here we go. July 28th came out today, 7 a.m., and we get started off with a big one. This comes from Jeff Passan. Detroit Tigers trade Tarik Skubal to the Milwaukee Brewers, and I gotta say, I absolutely love it. You heard me talk about it in my trade video going over your guys' trade submissions, and I felt like that the Brewers and the Tigers are actually a great fit, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if you pair up Jacob Misiorowski with Tarik Skubal and the Brewers for the rest of the season in the postseason if they want to beat the Los Angeles Dodgers, who we know are the clear and obvious favorites, especially in the National League. The Brewers just need to be even better than they already are. Great regular season team. I think this is the best chance that they've ever had. They get Tarik Skubal. I might give them the nod over the Dodgers in a 7-game series. It's going to be tough to beat. And of course, like Jeff Passan mentioned, and like I've mentioned too, they've got Logan Henderson. The Tigers want controllable young starting pitching. There's not many better guys right now in Major League Baseball who are young, controllable, and have shown that they're capable at the Major League level. Logan Henderson could also be helping the Tigers continue to compete. The American League is so weak. This is a trade where, yes, Tarik Skubal is clearly better, but getting Logan Henderson might not actually hurt this team as much. And then, admittedly, I have no idea how to pronounce Josh. I'm going to say it's Adamski? I don't know. I'm not Polish. I don't know how to read that. And then Ricky Monies, which, by the way, that's an electric name. I could totally see this happening. Jeff Passan off to a banger. I think the Brewers got to be one of the 3 teams that are favorites to go and get Tarik Skubal right now. Next up, we have Detroit Tigers trade Skubal to the Tampa Bay Rays, and this one comes in from Kylie McDaniel. I mean, these are the 2 best guys at ESPN, and I love both of these. We actually just recorded a video on the windup going over bold predictions. This was one of them, that the Rays are going to be extremely aggressive, maybe make the most trades, and the guys that they could send back, there's not a lot of teams, again, that could have the packages, and we've seen that the Rays have been willing to take on some money, have been willing to make these trades for the elite players. They almost traded Junior Caminero for Shohei Ohtani a few years ago. So the Rays are going to go out there and make some moves. They definitely need some more starting pitching, even though their pitching's been great. You want to get more of a playoff arm. Tarik Skubal would be that. This team's going to make big moves, and they said that Theo Gillen's off the table, which would make sense. So let's say Caden Bodine, Cooper Fleming, Michael Forret back to Detroit. See, to me, I just think that there's going to be teams that beat that package. I don't think that package will be ultimately what gets you Tarik Skubal. Also, wasn't Michael Forret the guy that they got from the Orioles? That would be such a backwards way for the Orioles to see that happen. Personally, to me, doesn't feel like that's enough. And I do think that Kylie McDaniel's right here where he says fans underrate how often deals for players such as Skubal are less about how good their top player is, but how many top 150 to 200 prospects teams can get. My biggest thing is that I just think he's going to get a ton. Everybody wants him. The Dodgers, the Brewers, the Braves, the Yankees, the Phillies, like all the teams that are competing are wanting him. So I think it is going to be a bidding war. And while the Rays can definitely compete in a bidding war, I just don't think that that package is good enough. But I love the idea. I think that this is a 6-6 spot for Tarik Skubal to land. Next up, we've got Mason Miller blockbusters. Okay, so the San Diego Padres trade Mason Miller to the Milwaukee Brewers. This comes from friend of the channel, Paul Hembekides. I think shout out a fellow Greek right there. A return of Josh. Again, I can't say his name. How do we say it? Someone in the comment section help me out. That's bad on my part. It's my job. I don't know how to say it. Braylon Payne, Bishop Letson, and Sal Frelick would be a healthy one for San Diego, while the Brewers get the opportunity to acquire baseball's best reliever. I actually think that, yes, Mason Miller to the Brewers would make a ton of sense. I just don't necessarily know if the Brewers, who as an organization, do just make bullpen demons out of thin air. Like Abner Uribe is a demon. He's come out of nowhere. Trevor McGill is disgusting. They do it every single year. I don't know if I see them going after that unless they had plans to then make Mason Miller into a starting pitcher, which I don't think they would. It would totally break my brain if they did, and I would love to see what Mason Miller with the Brewers pitching development looks like because, I mean, he's already the most disgusting pitcher in baseball. How much better can it really get? Will it get any better? Who knows? That package is pretty good. I think the Padres probably want more, but I don't think that that's necessarily a bad deal back by any means. Be interesting to see what happens there. Mason Miller probably just doesn't end up getting moved. A more interesting one to me, though, comes in from who wrote this one. Mason Miller going to the Chicago White Sox from Bradford Doolittle. Bradford, unfamiliar with your work. Love to see this, though. This is a blockbuster chaos deal that I absolutely love. The White Sox have openly said they're willing to go get players that cost money. Mason Miller's a guy who has money owed to him. That would be a great deal. Back into that bullpen would be disgusting. You just get the best closer in baseball who can go multiple innings. Amazing for a White Sox team who definitely needs some help back there. Imagine pairing him up with Grant Taylor. My God, that would be disgusting. And yeah, he would be the back of the bullpen hammer. It would be absolutely ridiculous. What are some of the names that they're thinking? You could see a deal here centered around Billy Carlson, ideally, or Caleb Bonham, if that's what it takes. It's aggressive, but Miller is really good and would be more than a rental. Yeah, I mean, after they got Rock Chalowski, I do think that some of their middle infield prospects are more expendable. Maybe this is where they end up going with it. Carlson fits a lot of what the Padres like. Same thing with Bonham. I don't think Bonham would be on the move, but if you got Carlson and a few other prospects, why not for the White Sox and why not for the Padres too? The team's not winning this year. I don't think they're winning next year either. It's a bit of a weird season. I know I'm more down on the Padres than most, but I like this. Shout out Bradford Doolittle. Also, electric name. Bradford Doolittle. I love it. All right, so there's 4. So I think we have 6 more left. Let's scroll down. Oh, I don't like this one. I don't like this one bit. New York Mets trade Francisco Lindor to the New York Yankees. That would be literally my nightmare. An absolute nightmare. I don't want Francisco Lindor being traded from the Mets ever. I want him to retire as a New York Met. I want him to go into the Hall of Fame wearing the New York Mets hat. He is that good of a player, and I think people are completely undervaluing him. I also think there's way too much noise about him being traded when neither the Mets or Francisco Lindor seemingly want that to happen. But in this chaos world, sure, yes, it addresses a need for the New York Yankees. Francisco Lindor would be incredible, be the best shortstop that they've had since Derek Jeter, and he makes a ton of sense. They need some difference-making players right now with all the injuries that they've had. What would they be sending back? Also, this comes in from Alden Gonzalez, who does a lot of great work. The Yankees wouldn't offer George Lombard Jr. Don't like that. So they'd give Dax Kilby. Man, I know he's got a lot of money owed to him, Francisco Lindor, 5 for $160. But I think if he were to hit free agency right now, he probably gets 5 for $150 at the absolute worst. This is the going rate for this caliber of shortstop. I don't think that this trade would ever happen. I don't see Francisco Lindor being traded to the Yankees. I don't see the Mets trading Francisco Lindor this year. I think it'd be really short-sighted. I think it'd be really stupid. This is a nightmare scenario for me, though. Alden Gonzalez is the first one I hate. And yes, this is all my bias. I don't care. That's why it's my channel. I get to do what I want. My bias tells me I hate this trade and I don't like it. Okay, we have another one involving a shortstop. The Houston Astros trade Jeremy Pena to the Boston Red Sox. Okay, I mean, listen, I think crazier things have happened, and I think Jeremy Pena in Boston makes a ton of sense. They desperately need a shortstop. The only thing that I think would stop them from making this big trade is that Franklin Arias looks unbelievable. I guess if you think Franklin Arias is still about a year away, maybe this is the stopgap because of the control that Jeremy Pena has. But I don't think that the Red Sox, there's a chance Franklin Arias plays for the Red Sox shortstop this year, down the stretch, in the postseason. He's that good. As long as he swings it at AAA, why not? Who would they be giving up? This one comes in from David Schoenfeld. Marcelo Meyer is part of the trade. He's been horrible. Anthony Ianson and Kyson Witherspoon would also be of interest. On paper, this looks like a no-brainer for both teams. I don't think you can trade Ianson. I don't think you can trade Witherspoon for Jeremy Pena. That's probably what the going rate would be. If you told me Marcelo Meyer and Kyson Witherspoon, I think if you're the Red Sox, you definitely make that deal. If you're the Astros, yeah, Kyson Witherspoon does look pretty disgusting. I think you probably want one more prospect, and we could fill in at the bottom who that could be. This is a worthy conversation, especially because Trevor Story just looks we just can't really rely on him. Pena, though, to the Red Sox does make sense in terms of player and fit. I don't ultimately know if the Red Sox go out and make that move for Jeremy Pena. I do think they're going to be one of the most aggressive teams at the deadline. I think they're going to go absolutely nuclear and go for everybody. I think Hunter Goodman's going to end up actually being a Red Sox in a massive, massive trade. I'm convincing myself more and more that that is going to happen. It's just going to be for a lot of players. Why not, right? I mean, it makes sense. David Schoenfeld, not a bad proposal at all. Minnesota Twins trade Byron Buxton to the Philadelphia Phillies. Buxton has long been rumored a Phillies target. It makes sense being that his skill set would address multiple team shortcomings. In a fantasy world, he's willing to trade his no-trade clause. Of course, yes, that's the biggest problem. Byron Buxton's not waiving the no-trade clause. It seems like he loves playing for the Twins. I think the Twins are not going to sell. It seems like they feel like they have a chance to make the postseason, which they do. Statistically, they do. I don't think the roster, as it currently stands, is a postseason team, but the American League has been so putrid that right now they are. And yes, if you're the Philadelphia Phillies and you have the opportunity to go get Byron Buxton, you go get him. You need outfield help so bad, so much so that apparently Bryce Harper has brought his outfield glove 2 games now, just in case the Phillies trade for a first baseman. He wants to get back into the rhythm of being able to play the outfield. I love that from him. Dog move. I think they should consider it, especially because trading for a first baseman's a lot easier than trading for an outfielder right now, and I think the cost will be a lot less with the guys that are available. One package going back to Minnesota features Justin Crawford and Gage Wood and Cade Obermuller. Yeah, I mean, if you're the Twins, I don't necessarily know if Justin Crawford has the most value just because you have so many outfield prospects that are really good, but sure, Gage Wood would be a great piece. He's been so good this year for the Phillies farm system. And Obermuller's been a guy, little left-handed pitcher down in A-ball, has pitched really well so far. Crawford gives the Twins a potential long-term replacement for Buxton. Wood and Obermuller provide future pieces for a rotation that's been bottom 10 in ERA each of the past 3 seasons. Listen, I get it. It makes sense in this fantasy world. But unfortunately, and that's not the point of this article, these are blockbuster trades that would break Major League Baseball. Yeah, this would break it. This would make the Phillies, it puts them in conversations to be the World Series contender way more. Next, we have the Minnesota Twins trade Ryan Jefferson to the New York Yankees. Who did this one? This one's not crazy at all. This feels like there's a good chance it happens. This one comes in from Jorge Castillo. Jorge, this isn't a bold blockbuster trade. We're talking about a catcher who's on an expiring contract. What would this deal be? Because obviously, this makes a ton of sense. The Yankees need so much catching help, and right now, right-handed catching is a premium for the Yankees because Austin Wells and JC Escarra, Ali Sanchez, come on, stop it. Ryan Jeffers would be an immediate upgrade. Also swings the bat so well and is a good catcher. Probably going to end up being Tyler Stevenson. That is my prediction that we've talked about, and my predictions will be coming out later in the week. I wanted to save it for this weekend to do my trade deadline predictions. But yeah, I could see Ryan Jeffers going to the Yankees. What do they think they'd get back? Does it even mention any players that they think they'd get back? No, I think they're just like, hey, in this blockbuster trade, the Yankees trade something for Ryan Jeffers. Tom Pohlad, the owner, does intend to keep the team together, although you gotta consider moving Ryan Jeffers, right? Or at the absolute worst, Victor Caratini, your backup. You don't need to hold on to backups. Yankees are going to get a right-handed hitting catcher, though. Ryan Jeffers makes a ton of sense if the Twins trade. Deals for starting rotation help. Cincinnati Reds trade for Brady Singer to the Chicago White Sox. Totally. They also mentioned that Robbie Ray is costly, so they think Singer makes more sense. He'll be due around $4 million for the final couple months, can fit nicely into the back end of the rotation. This one comes from Jesse Rogers. Is it me or is Jesse Rogers also a Chicago guy? Maybe this is a little insight into what the organization's thinking. The prospects needed should be someone just outside the Chicago's top 10. Mason Adams fits the bill, coming back from Tommy John surgery. I think Brady Singer is going to get even less than a borderline top 10 prospect in the org. Brady Singer's pitched well of recent. I think he's had like 3 or 4 good starts in a row. He's pitching tonight, so he's definitely going to get shelled now that I've said this. I actually think Singer getting out of Cincinnati can be valuable to a team, like they said, a back-end rotation. I don't know how much of a blockbuster this is. When I saw the Reds, I thought it was going to be Hunter Green. That would be blockbuster. But yeah, this totally makes sense. Sure, the Reds have to trade him. And then again, not a blockbuster, but I think a deal that probably is going to happen. The New York Mets trade Clay Holmes to the Chicago White Sox. One of Clay Holmes or Freddie Peralta will be a White Sox. The other one will probably be a Chicago Cub, it feels like. He would definitely be a postseason starter for the White Sox going into the playoffs, and definitely down the stretch he'd be getting some big innings. They think that maybe the Mets would get David Sandlin back, which I wouldn't be upset with. He's got a ton of control. He throws hard. I like him a lot. Shout out Eric Carabell. This is the one that actually feels like the most realistic trade that could happen. That would be a great trade. Square deal, sign, shake hands, let's do it. I love it. Shout out Eric Carabell for that one. I think it's pretty plain and simple. And that's it. That's it for this article. We started off with some big names. I thought we were going to get bigger ones, but we did not. I'd love to know your guys' opinion down in the comment section below. What blockbuster trades do you think happen at the deadline? Remember to subscribe to my channel, Draft Deck Mark, as well as the Windup. I'm going to leave a link in the description. We are going to go and give our own bold predictions if you want to see those videos. We got that trade deadline live stream on deadline day from like noon to 6, so keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.